Close your eyes and step back to 1975. You're walking down a British high street. The smell hits you first-rich tobacco aroma that clings to everything. Picture any pub on Friday night. The air is thick with smoke, cigarette tips glowing like fireflies in every corner. Behind the bar, packets are displayed like colorful trophies: red embassy, blue players no, 6, gold and Benson and Hedges. Walk into any office. Secretaries type with cigarettes dangling from their lips. Businessmen conduct meetings through clouds of smoke. Even doctors smoked in hospitals. Cigarette packets sat proudly on pub tables, rolled into shirt sleeves, tucked into handbags. Your choice said something about who you were, your class, your style, your aspirations. Smoking wasn't just a habit in 1970s Britain. It was identity. It was culture. Today, we're journeying through the cigarette brands that defined a generation. Some vanished forever, others survive in name only, but all shaped the Britain that lived life through smoke. Embassy filter dominated Britain by the late 1960s. By 1968, it commanded nearly a quarter of the entire UK cigarette market. And for cigarettes smoked was an embassy. That distinctive red and white packet was everywhere. Opening a fresh pack felt like unwrapping sophistication itself. Embassy wasn't just selling tobacco, they were selling an image of confident. Modern Britain, their advertisements featured stylish people living their best lives, all united by the red glow of an Embassy cigarette. The brand became so embedded in culture that it sponsored the Embassy Regal Cup football tournament from 1970 to 1975 for millions. Embassy meant Friday night pints, celebrations, and the satisfying ritual of lighting up after a long day. It was the cigarette of a Britain that believed in itself, heading confidently into the 1970s, but Embassy's reign wouldn't last forever. Change was coming in the form of a bold blue packet. Then came 1965 and Players No. 6, the cigarette that changed everything. That bold blue and white packaging was revolutionary. No pretentious gold, no fancy fonts, just honest. Straightforward design that said, this is for real people living real lives. By 1969, just 4 years after launch, No. 6 had achieved the impossible. It dethroned Embassy to become Britain's #1 cigarette. How? Because it understood the British working class like no other. Picture a young factory worker finishing his shift in 1971. He didn't want something pretentious, he wanted No. 6. Strong, affordable, and unapologetically working class, the brand became part of youth culture. Teenagers sneaking their first cigarettes chose No. 6 in pubs across Britain. Lighting up a No. 6 was as natural as ordering a pint of bitter. No. 6 wasn't just a cigarette, it was working class pride wrapped in tobacco. For many Britons, Players No. 6 was the cigarette of their identity. While No. 6 conquered the masses, Benson Hedges Special Filter built an empire among the aspirational. That iconic gold packet wasn't just packaging, it was a statement piece. Pulling out Benson Hedges was like displaying luxury. The gold caught light, felt substantial, and everyone noticed. Their advertising was masterful, glamorous women in elegant evening wear, photographed in golden light, holding cigarettes with sophisticated confidence. The message was clear: this is how refined people smoke. Alongside it, Silk Cut emerged with clean purple branding, marketing itself as lighter and more refined, the thinking person's cigarette. But not every cigarette needed gold packaging. Some were simply part of everyday British life. Woodbine was the ultimate working man smoke, strong, unfiltered, and honest. Picture construction site tea breaks, hard hats off, crumpled Woodbine packets out. Senior service carried nautical tradition, appealing to Britain's maritime heritage. Park Drive and Kensitas were reliable, affordable, everywhere, not exciting, but dependable. But as the 1970s progressed, change was stirring. Medical research that had accumulated quietly for decades suddenly burst into public consciousness. The Royal College of Physicians had warned about smoking since 1962. But tobacco industry marketing had drowned out their voices. By the mid-1970s, those warnings were getting louder and harder to ignore. Television documentaries explored links between smoking and cancer. Government found itself torn. Tobacco taxes funded public services, but evidence suggested smoking was killing taxpayers. Tobacco companies fought back hard. They funded research, disputed medical findings, poured millions into campaigns suggesting smoking was beneficial. Some ads even featured doctors smoking, but the tide was turning. The first advertising restrictions appeared in late 1970s. TV commercials began disappearing. Print ads started carrying health warnings. As the 1980s dawned, changes accelerated. Prices rose dramatically through taxation. Embassy lost its crown. No. 6 declined into obscurity. Working-class brands like Woodbine faded fastest as traditional industries declined. By the 1990s, these proud brands had virtually disappeared from mainstream British life. These cigarette brands weren't just tobacco rolled in paper, they were daily rituals that marked the rhythm of British life. The morning embassy with tea, the No. 6 shared with mates at lunch, the celebration Benson and Hedges. They were social currency, conversation starters, marks of identity. These brands tell us about a Britain where smoking filled every space. Pubs so smoky you couldn't see across the room. Office meetings conducted through cigarette haze. The packets were works of art. Bold designs competing for attention, each promising different social identity. Most remarkably, they show how dramatically society can change in one generation. Cigarettes that once defined who we were became museum pieces. Which brand lives strongest in your memory? The golden sophistication of Benson and Hedges. The honest simplicity of players No. 6. The working-class reliability of Woodbine. Share your memories. These aren't just stories about cigarettes. They're about people, families, and a Britain that lived differently. This is PastMuse, where past speaks again.